Hey pilots, DrainMan here. Today I have a very special video. Today we are going to go over the F722 Mamba Stack. This is a 6S stack with tons of features, tons of UARTs, tons of power, and it's just gorgeous. And also it has built-in Bluetooth. You're going to want to stay tuned. Alright pilots, so there's plenty of videos on this stack. I don't want to drag out your time. I just want to show you guys how to wire this if you don't know how to wire it, and just go over some of the features, and let's talk about why this is one of the best stacks out right now. Alright, so first off, you get an extra ESC connector if you need it. You get a cool black XT60, which is awesome because them yellow ones are ugly. You get a capacitor, which I recommend putting whether you're putting 6S or 4S. They say to put it for 6S, I say put it for both. And then you get tons of these little rubber gummy grommet O-rings, and you can never have too many of those, so I'm happy about that. Alright, you also get this very cool spacing board. You can use it by mounting it right here, and then you can put your VTX up here or do whatever you want, or you can use it just for your wiring so you know where to wire everything. Now if you guys are new to wiring and you're still not sure what some of this stuff means, I'm going to help you out today by going over this. If you are experienced, then you got this, you're good to go. Alright, so right off the bat, one of the amazing features that this has is you've got 5 places to solder up LEDs. So if you plan on building a quad and you want to put some cool LEDs, this is definitely the board for it. Let's go over them real quick. So you've got one here in this corner, you've got one here in this corner, you've got one here in this corner, you've got another one here, and you've got one here. So you literally have 5 right there. If you're unsure on how to wire them up, you're going to have what's called your LED or your signal, which is going to be right here, and you can see it because it's telling us right here. See that right there? LED ground 5 volt. So you're going to follow that. LED ground 5 volt. If you're doing this one, it's a little bit different. It's going to be ground 5 volt and then your LED signal. Up here you've got your 5 volt, ground, and LED. So when you get your LED, you're going to have a black wire, a red wire, and a signal. That's what you'll use right here. The signal is referring to the LED pad, the black is the ground, and the red is the 5 volt. If you wanted to, you could take this one and at the end of that LED is keep running more and more and more. I don't know how bright you want to go, but you've got all the potential in the world. Another thing I want to talk about is every pad on this flight controller is through hole. That means you can solder it on from either side depending on what you want to do, so you're not limited there. Real quick, you've got your onboard memory flash, you've got your Betaflight OSD. I believe Betaflight stopped supporting the 32K, so it doesn't matter anyways. You also have your stuff for Bluetooth, which is super cool because this board has built-in Bluetooth. What does that mean? That means you can pull out your Speedy B and connect to this via Bluetooth. You don't need to plug nothing in and do no crazy mumba jumba. Get it? Mamba jumba. So first off, when you place this in your flight controller, the first thing you want to do is point your arrow forward. This is the best possible orientation, number one, because you won't have to adjust the gyro, which you can. If you decide to put this in your build like this, that's okay. You can always use your Betaflight configuration to tell Betaflight that it's turned crooked, but that's going to throw off all your ESCs, because when you solder on your motors, you want to have them in the correct orientation, motor 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you turn your board any other way but that way, you're going to confuse it, so make sure you remap your motors. What you'll do if you're unsure is when you jump into Betaflight, go to your motors tab and power them up one by one, and that right there you can use. So if this is supposed to be 1, you'll turn on the power for 1, and as long as this is spinning, you're good. If not, you're going to need to remap your motors. Alright, so if you're going to run a buzzer, if you're going to want to go ahead and connect your buzzer right here. You've got your positive, and then you've got your ground for your buzzer. That is where you will connect it if you plan on running a beeper. This does do up to Dshot 1200, so you don't technically need a beeper because this can use the motors to beep. Alright, let's go over your ESCs real quick because there's not much there because they've already connected it for you, but if you flip your board over, it tells you right here what each one is. You've got your current setting. You've got your UART, you've got ESC 4, 3, 2, and 1. You've got your voltage, and you've got your ground. That's pretty cool that they put that right on here for you if you need it. Me personally, I'm going to leave this on because if I ever need to adjust any of this, I'll have it right there. Also, you can see they conformal coated the bottom of this board. That's a very nice touch. You will need to, you don't have to, but I recommend to pop off these 4 nylon nuts, and you can take this off and you'll take advantage of that to solder up your motors. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, and the same on this side. And that's going to be to get your motors connected, so that way, I mean, you're all set. You solder up your motors and then that's done. I mean, ESC's connected, flight controller, PDB, everything's all done right there, just like that. You can't beat that. Alright, so let's talk about your Unify or your AKK or your Foxy or whatever type of, you know, the Clear TX, whatever type of VTX you're going to run, it really doesn't matter. You're going to connect it right here. This flight controller does have an onboard 9-volt regulator. A lot of flight controllers don't, so that's a really nice touch. Alright, so what you got, if you're going to solder up your VTX when you're ready to, this is super awesome. If you're running a Unify V3, which means that that flight controller can only take 5 volts, you will solder your power right here and your ground right here, and that'll give you your 5 volts in your ground for your VTX. If you're running anything else, any high volt VTX or Clear TX, any one of those other VTXs that need full power or more than 5 volts of power, you're going to use this right here, which is going to be your 9 volt. Then you've got your ground, then you have your RX3, so you got your video right here. Now right here, this is your RX. So basically what that is that's your smart audio. So if you've got a Unify, that's where you're going to put the white wire. You're going to solder it right here, and then when you get inside a Betaflight, the configurator, you're going to use port 3, and you're going to set the peripheral for UART3 is where your smart audio is. You'll change that in Betaflight. Real quick, go to the cap of your case that it came in, remove the foam, and you'll find right there, you'll find a QR code that you can use for instructions on running your Bluetooth and any other questions you might have. Also, feel free to drop a question down in the comments. I like to keep threads going for the guys who have questions. Other pilots can chime in and help out, or I'll do my best to answer your question. UART 6 is right here. You've got your ground, your 5 volt, and it's super cool. I don't know if you've noticed by now, but I have, that if you see a pad that's kind of square and some are round, I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me get you in a little bit closer. See how you've got square pads and then you've got round pads? Your square pads are running voltage, so that way, you know, you can take a quick peek without, you know, messing nothing up. You can see real quick. So you have an open UART here. I don't know what you would run there. You can run whatever you want there. Whatever makes your heart happy, you can run it. Right here is where you're going to run your GPS if you want to run GPS. You can do it on UART 6 if you want, or you can do it on UART 5. It doesn't matter. This is a UART as well. So you've got your RX, your TX, your 5 volt, and your ground right here. So you've got UART 5 and UART 6. So if you're going to run GPS or anything else you might run, there's tons of stuff you could do. Whatever you might do, you've got 2 open UARTs for it right there. If you have RSSI, you're going to connect that right here. And then right here you have TX4 and RX4. So you've got your RSSI, and then you've got a UART, a full UART with positive and ground, and then you've got another full UART with positive and ground. So you've got everything you could ever ask for right there. And then you have another UART here. This is crazy. I sound crazy saying another UART because we always lack UARTs. We never have enough to do everything we want to do. And that's what makes this board so special. Also, because it's an F7, it's capable to do all that. You're not going to lock down your CPU by doing it. You do have 2 buttons here. One is your boot button, and one we are thinking is either Bluetooth or LED button, not 100% yet. I'm thinking that it's going to be for LEDs. Now the last but not least section that you're going to need is right over here, and this is where you have another UART, and then you also have your ground, your 5-volt PPM, which not many people run anymore, and then you have your S bus. Because it's F7, you don't have to worry about inverted signals or anything like that. FR Sky runs their inverted signal. But if you're going to solder up a FR Sky receiver, you're going to connect your ground, your 5-volt, you got your S bus here, which is going to be your green wire off of your RXSR, and then if you have a yellow wire for S port, you can go ahead and connect that as well. If you're running Crossfire, then you go ahead and power everything right over here. You can connect your ground, your 5-volt, and then you can use UART2. You have TX and RX, which is going to go to your Crossfire Nano. If you're running a Crossfire Diversity, it's going to wire exactly the same. You're going to connect your ground, your 5-volt, and then your RX and your TX are going to go right here. Remember that the RX from the receiver is going to go to the TX on the flight controller, and the TX from the receiver is going to go to the RX on the flight controller. Always swap those. Don't go TX to TX when it comes to that. Alright, I think we've gone over pretty much everything, but just to recap a couple things. Your OSD is the AT7. You've got 16 megabytes of flash memory. You have 6 UARTs, which is outstanding. The ESCs can run 300, 600, or 1200, but why wouldn't you just run 1200? You can do camera control. We already talked about smart audio. Camera control I'd do up here. We've talked about RSSI down here. You've got your LEDs. You can run 4 sets of LEDs, and then you've got a 5th one if you want to get crazy. You do have a 5-volt BEC on here, obviously, because you've got places where you can connect 5-volt, and then something that you're not seeing a lot but is super awesome, you've got your 9-volt right here. I absolutely love that. If you need it for something else, you can utilize it. This ESC is a 55 amp ESC, and you've also got current sensing too. Alright, this actually does have the 2812 LED controller, so it actually has an LED controller on board, like a microcontroller on board, and that is what this button is for. So I did discover that just now. Pretty sweet. Now, other than that, it's super sharp looking. It all looks very well built. I think it's going to do great, and no matter what build you put it in, as long as it's a 30 by 30, you've got plenty of power. I think you're going to be very happy with it. I'm excited to try it out and see how it does. I'm going to take advantage of the LEDs, and then I'm going to also put GPS on this build. I've got an upcoming video on that. That's going to do it for this board. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.